Today we're making Mexican cheese dip or smoked queso. Now, it's supposed to be done on the barbecue, but I'm doing the oven. The first thing, we're going to get the cheese ready to go. You saw a small block of Velveeta. That's our first ingredient that we're going to chop up into dice-sized pieces. So we'll cut the block first, and then we'll chop up all those pieces into a big hunk of pieces, and I think we're going to put this in the fridge until I'm ready for it because it's really gooey. Now, the other thing that occurs to me is that this is really similar to cheese slices and a lot more expensive. So I'm kind of wondering if I make this again, if I might not try doing this with cheese slices. A pack should do. The second one's pepper jack. We're going to take that whole pepper jack, 8 ounces, and we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the Velveeta. And we'll make it in a nice cubes. There we go. Nice cubes. And we're going to put that in a bowl and set that aside too. One to try. Alright, so I went in the fridge and I found some mozzarella left over, and this wasn't actually part of the recipe, but I knew mozzarella melts from pizza and that. So I decided this little bit before it goes bad and we don't get to use it, why don't we chop this up, and hey, it's an extra cheese. So we're going to do the same thing. I chopped it up a little smaller, and we'll do the same thing. We'll set this aside with the other cheese we've got in the bowl ready to go. So the last cheese we got to chop is cheddar. I like old cheddar. When you cook the cheese, it tends to get milder, so don't worry about it if you don't like the sharp taste of old cheddar. So I'm only going to use not even half this block. And after having made this, I'll give you a spoiler alert, it is extremely cheesy. I mean, I kept thinking, wow, this is a lot of cheese. It is. I'm going to guess if you're going to do this for a party, you could make a half batch and everything would be fine. So there's the last one, Tex Mex Shredded Cheese. I bought that so I wouldn't have to actually shred the block. We're going to chop up an onion. Okay, a medium onion, sliced and diced small. Obviously it's going to bake and cook down a little bit, but you still don't want huge pieces, especially when you're dipping. So we also need jalapenos. I'm cutting the ends off, and I'll actually use the ends. And I'll show that in another video, how to save the ends. I usually have a handful in the freezer in case I need jalapenos for a recipe and don't have any on hand. So the idea is you're going to chop them up into small slices and chop them up small. You don't want them super big. This isn't like you're making a dinner. This is going to be a dip, so you want things small enough that they'll fit on your tortilla chip. So I sliced them into small slices, and I wasn't going to use all 4 because they were pretty big peppers, but I ended up using all 4. Now that we've got all the vegetables done, I pulled out this package of chorizo. Never actually worked with chorizo before, so you could use hamburger. You could just spice up another sausage if you'd like. So I've got chorizo. The trick was I had to take the casings off them so we could cook it. The first one was a little tricky, but after I got 2 or 3 done, you just kind of slice them up the middle and the casing comes like right off. Look how easy this is. Just peels right off. So there you go. There's my 4 chorizo sausages. I'm going to put them in a frying pan, medium heat of course. And the idea here is we're going to cook it down so it's nice and small and crumbly. So that's what it should look like once it's done cooking. It's something that you've got to, that you can dip with. Now there was a little bit of liquid with it, so I kind of drained it off, but the idea is you want to put this aside. You don't want it doesn't have to be super hot. The last ingredient is a small can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. You know what, you could have used diced, a can of just regular diced would have done the same thing. So here we are, we're going to assemble this. So there's our cheddar cheese, and there's the jack going in. Okay, so I kind of built it up, and as I'm putting this together, I'm amazed at just how much is actually in this. And I know the picture from the recipe I took looked pretty cool, but it stunned me how much I was really making. You could make this, and you could literally feed 50 people, I'm sure. There is so much cheese in there. As a matter of fact, it took us 4 days to finally eat half of it. I gave half away. So there's the Velveeta in, and of course the jalapenos. Onions go in the middle, and then the chorizo. And I got thinking, you're supposed to bake it like this, and the tomatoes, of course, the can of tomatoes. But I got thinking, you know, I've got to mix this up hot out of the oven. Why don't I just mix it up now? It's all got to melt anyway. So if I mix it up now, all the cheese in that is all nice and, you know, kind of mixed throughout the whole tin instead of just in one little area. So that's what I did. Played around with it, and then when I'm done, I put the rest of the mozzarella I had chopped up. So we threw that on, and then after that I grabbed my bag of Tex Mex, and I didn't really put the whole bag in. I think I only put about 2/3 of the bag, so maybe about like 6 ounces of the cheese. But believe me, at this point I'm looking at it thinking, I can't believe how much cheese there is. And to do it all over again, I would probably keep the same amount of meat and jalapenos, but I would probably half the cheese, and you would still have a fantastic dip. We were even thinking about my usual standby, throwing in some cream mushroom soup, or, you know, kind of playing with it and seeing if there's other flavors we can do. But anyway, we had to try it according to the recipe, so here we go. We put most of the cheese in, and the last step before it goes in the oven, which by the way the oven was at 350, you got to cover it with tin foil. So we did that. Now you could make the same mistake I did, which was I put it in the oven, but I didn't put it on the bottom rack. Very important. Put it on the bottom rack. Let me tell you from experience, because it took an extra 20 minutes to melt the cheese, because after the first 20 minutes, I took it out and it was nowhere close to melted. So my daughter yelled, well, put it on the bottom rack. I did, and that worked a lot better. So you can see it's not completely melted, but this is after 40 minutes in the oven, 20 on the bottom rack. So you take the top off and you put her back in the oven for another 10, and now look at it. Now you've got yourself a nice warm dip. And the smell coming off that is just, you know, give me a big spoon and I'll just, never mind the crackers or chips, I'll just eat it like that. Now, of course, the pan's a little messed up because I just about dropped it when I took it out for the last time, but I saved it, thank God. And here we are. Everyone dig in. Oh, that looks so good. Well, there you have it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a like below. Feel free to share this in any of my other videos. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That'll let you know anytime I upload a video, usually Thursdays. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.